Hello and welcome to the Eating Disorder Therapist podcast. I'm Harriet Frew, eating disorder therapist, here to support you in overcoming disordered eating and finding peace with food. So thank you so much for listening today. Now today I want to talk about a transformational hack that you're probably avoiding in eating disorder recovery. Okay, so let's dive in. And this is something that when people really commit to this, it truly is transformative. It sounds so simple, but sometimes it can just feel so hard. So, in eating disorder recovery, you'll be searching for the latest mindset hack or magic technique to miraculously propel you out of food obsession and into the land of peaceful eating. Isn't that what we all want? And maybe you're listening to podcasts like this one 24/7, or you're absorbing YouTube recovery content like it's a full-time job and following the progress of inspiring recovery warriors on socials. And maybe you watch What I Eat in a Day content on repeat in a search for the perfect meal plan so that your body can recover in the right way. The ideal recovery fantasy is a thing. And perhaps you're fixated on healthy eating, bordering on orthorexia, while searching for the plan that will transport you to recovery land without having to embark on embracing your forbidden foods or anything that could contaminate your system. I think this is often something that we can get into. And sometimes you can search for every possible solution without returning to some of the basic and fundamental recovery practices. So when you're doing this, you're metaphorically rearranging the skidding deck chairs on the sinking Titanic rather than addressing the core issue that's sinking you deeper into the sea. We've all been there. And this is the boring and unsexy work of regular eating in eating disorder recovery. So maybe you hear this and you're already eye-rolling at the thought, because regular eating is not a popular practice in mainstream culture. It's not alluring or interesting like intermittent fasting or something else. Regular eating can be effortful and tedious, and it requires active self-care. And when you're living your life at 200 miles per hour, it's an extra that feels unnecessary often and bothersome. Now, if you have a history of dieting, it can also feel remindful of the old diet plans, as it requires preparation, planning, and thoughts around food. And it's not the same as rigid diets, though, with its prescriptive calories and rigid times to eat. Instead, regular eating offers a scaffolding of eating support, ensuring that you have foods available to eat when you're hungry and within a time window. And when you're desiring as well to move towards intuitive eating, regular eating can be the stepping stone that gets you there, as intuitive eating is often too much too soon for most people in recovery. That's very normal. So regular eating provides a stable platform and baseline to your well-being, which offers a safe ground then to explore the deeper issues in recovery around relationships, emotions, and self-esteem. So, what does regular eating look like? It's going to look slightly different for everyone, but I guess the general guideline is that regular eating involves eating 3 meals and 3 snacks, or working towards this, and it's sometimes referred to as the 6 eats. It's self-caring eating, and you're considering nourishment, health, satisfaction, and taste, and you're including balance in your meals. And this means including a protein source, some carbohydrate, good fats, and fruit and vegetables, particularly at your main meals. And it can involve introducing your unsafe foods in a structured and controlled manner to help build confidence. So with regular eating, you're eating every 2.5 to 3 hours. So this means that your blood sugar remains relatively stable, and you rarely reach the "I'm so hungry I could eat my arm off" situation, which often ends in binging or overeating. So why bother with regular eating? So in recovery from a disordered relationship with food, it's challenging to immediately tune into hunger and fullness signals again and to simply go with the flow. And that's often the fantasy, but it's not reality. But regular eating provides the structure which opens the door to make some of those other goals possible. Regular eating stabilizes blood sugar and provides your body with consistent fuel and energy, and this helps prevent the escalation of disordered eating habits. Because things like disordered eating patterns such as chewing and spitting, binge eating, emotional eating, purging are often in part triggered by overhunger and a fall in blood sugar. And as a human, you're designed for survival and your brain demands glucose to live. So if you go too long between eating episodes, you will suddenly feel ravenously hungry, resulting in a strong desire to eat. Now, ravenous hunger often leaves you physically and emotionally dysregulated and less in touch with your body. So when you come to an eating episode from that ravenous place, you're much more vulnerable to binge eating, overeating, and then thinking, I've blown it, so I might as well carry on, and going down the path of disordered eating. So regular eating allows you to eat before the ferocious hunger sets in. So you're eating when you're a 7 out of 10 hungry rather than a 10 out of 10. Now, this might mean as well that you're eating before you get that real stomach growling hunger. You're eating a bit earlier on in the process. So maybe when you're getting those initial hunger signals of preoccupation with food, feeling a bit more irritable, feeling low in energy. Because I think for many people, the stomach growling hunger, the real physical feelings of hunger often don't kick in full on until you're 10 out of 10 hungry, and it's almost too late then to regulate yourself well. So this means if you're eating when you're 7 out of 10 rather than 10 out of 10 hunger, it means you can make more balanced and self-caring food choices without launching headfirst into the chocolate box as you haven't eaten since 7 a.m. And not to say there's anything wrong with launching headfirst into the chocolate box. Sometimes that might happen, but I'm just saying that in recovery from an eating disorder, when you're trying to balance your blood sugar, be self-caring, help yourself to feel some autonomy and control in the process, it's really helpful to have that structured, regular eating in the background. And if you do launch headlong into the chocolate box, you might be really vulnerable to having a full-blown binge and feeling that you've lost control and all the things. Regular eating stops you feeling dizzy, tired, and distracted when low on fuel. And regular eating is like throwing logs on an already burning metabolic fire. It helps your metabolism to be efficient and your body is firing on all cylinders, active and fueled. Whereas irregular eating and restriction will slow your metabolism, you will struggle to go upstairs or exert yourself, and your body will be in energy preservation mode. And irregular eating can render you hangry, irritable, and with a concentration of a goldfish. An underfueled, glucose-desiring brain will be scrolling food porn with a vengeance and fantasizing about a fancy restaurant meal in 2 weeks' time. Instead, regular eating allows you to tap helpfully into your intelligence. Your focus and memory improve. You can become absorbed in tasks and efficient at working due to the regular blood sugar supply to the brain. And your mood is enhanced too, as overhunger leaves you anxious, dreary, irritable, and low in energy. And regular eating can help or improve your digestive system function. You're not overloading or underloading your system in one go. And it can help regulate your circadian rhythm, which improves your general feeling of well-being and improves digestive health. What's not to love? So let's talk about some things to watch out for with regular eating that we can fall into, patterns we can fall into when we're trying to do it. So the low-calorie foods. It's really tempting in ED recovery to fill up on low-calorie foods or diet foods rather than foods that really satisfy you. Now, loading up on vegetables or diet snacks such as rice cakes or popcorn will often leave you bloated and unsatisfied, unsatiated. The yum will be missing, and then you will search for further food. And chewing gum instead of food does not meet a regular eating requirement. Next one, fluids. Again, you may be prone to filling yourself up on fluids such as tea, coffee, Pepsi Max or plain water. Now this creates an artificial feeling of fullness and will disrupt healthy hunger cues. And you're likely to feel artificially full and bloated short term, but then will feel crazily hungry later. So if you're over drinking on fluids, think about taking steps to cut down. And this can feel quite hard at first because your body's so used to being so used to having so much fluid all the time, but your body will adjust. Carbohydrates are necessary for satisfaction, so it may be tempting to go low or no carb in your regular eating regime, but carbohydrates are a vital fuel for your brain and muscles. Without carbs, you'll feel tired, irritable, and you'll be prone to low blood sugar. And low carb diets can render you vulnerable to binge eating. You'll be likely longing for sugar. I know in my own recovery, I was not eating enough carbohydrates in the early days. By 4 o'clock in the afternoon, I'd be so craving sugar. And then I would end up eating a lot of sugar through the evening. Okay, so that's a sure sign. That was a sure sign for me that I wasn't eating enough earlier in the day, particularly carbohydrates. And helpful sources of carbohydrates can include things like cereals, rice, pasta, oats, bread, noodles, potatoes, quinoa, quinoa, couscous and tortillas, to name a few. And fats too. Fats are not only vital for body functions such as hormone creation, nerve function and vitamin absorption, to name a few, but they make food tasty and elevate the yum and satisfaction level. Adequate amounts of fat also signal to the brain that you have eaten enough and help provide a signal to stop eating. So tasty and beneficial fats for the body can include things like butter, olive oil, avocado, nuts, peanut butter, olives and hummus as examples. So the next thing with regular eating is it provides this platform to begin to work towards introducing your old unsafe foods. Now, I know as well that when you're in eating disorder recovery, some people choose to go all in, and that is fine. There are many ways to do the recovery road, but for other people, it's more helpful to have that really stable structure of regular eating in place, and then to gradually and incrementally introduce old unsafe foods on top of this. So your regular eating provides that structure where you can introduce more of these foods. So I've done a whole podcast and also article on this before. So yeah, please go and look that up. It talks about how to introduce forbidden foods safely, and it is linked if you're on the Substack episode. Regular eating comes first, and it offers a wonderful platform to take those next steps. So with regular eating, take your time and be kind to yourself. It's one of those things that sounds so simple sometimes, but it's not always easy and straightforward. Also, if you are neurodivergent, I think again, this can be incredibly challenging to implement regular eating. It can feel overwhelming and really, really challenging and difficult. But actually, you'll probably benefit even more if you are neurodivergent. Perhaps particularly if you have ADHD, having that structure around regular eating can help you so much. And it's going to take time to feel comfortable with regular eating. Mentally, it can be extremely difficult at first. It can feel like you're eating a lot of food, but actually overall, things are probably like really balancing out, and actually it's helping you so much. So many of my clients have found regular eating to be a game changer in their recovery journey. I've been working with someone recently who struggled with eating disorders for over 30 years and has really acknowledged how helpful regular eating has been. It's been so transformative. And it was certainly true for me in my recovery from bulimia. I remember being stuck in a very restrictive cycle of eating, living on cottage cheese, like very thin slices of bread with the crust cut off, oranges, not a lot else. And I would get to 4 o'clock in the afternoon, be absolutely starving hungry, fall into binge eating, the whole binge purge cycle would repeat. When I started doing more regular eating more balance, it helped me so much. I went from binging and purging daily to binging and purging probably to more like twice a week or something. Like the regular eating transformed my recovery in a way that I couldn't have imagined. But it can be mentally difficult at first. It is a game changer though. It can be transformative, but you need to really commit to the change, commit to the process, keep it simple, be patient and compassionate with yourself. Okay, so good luck with your regular eating. If you want to share anything about your regular eating journey, I would love to hear from you. And thank you so much for listening. I really appreciate you being here. If you're not following me already on Instagram, do seek me out, the Eating Disorder Therapist _ for further support with your relationship with food. Do go to the eatingdisordertherapist.co.uk. If you enjoy this podcast, I'll be so grateful if you follow, rate and review, as it helps it reach so many more listeners. And if you'd like written articles of this podcast delivered free to your inbox twice a week, please sign up to my Substack. The link is in the show notes. Look forward to seeing you over there. Thank you so much for listening, and I look forward to sharing another podcast episode with you very soon.